Luca Joe here. Today we'll be taking a look at this game, Stalingrad, Verdun on the Volga, a game designed by Michael Rinella and published by Against the Odds magazine. Stalingrad, Verdun on the Volga is a two-player, medium complexity area impulse game about the battle for control of the city of Stalingrad, and it covers from September to November of 1942. This game was previously published by Against the Odds' sister company, Last Stand Games, in 2017 as a boxed game, and it had a mounted map board. This new version comes in a Ziploc bag and has a two-sided paper map sheet and also various extras that the original version did not have. The game comes in a plastic Ziploc bag, and of course, it's part of a magazine, so it includes various other articles. This is the annual 2022 edition, which is the 80th anniversary of the Battle of Stalingrad in 1942. And it includes the artwork in the original game that was published by Last Stand Games. The magazine includes various articles, of course, dealing with the game, like Prelude, The Advance to the Volga by Michael Rinella, and it has a very interesting map of various sites and landmarks in and around the city of Stalingrad. There's another article, The Battle in Stalingrad by David Glantz and Jonathan House, and Aftermath, The Death of the Sixth Army by Michael Rinella. The game includes one of these postal card games. This one is Guarding the Land, designed by Paul Rohrbaugh. And there's a historical article, Traitors' Triumph, Patriots' Victory, about the Battle of Fort Griswold, also by Paul Rohrbaugh. The magazine includes a substantial article, 1066 and Where's That? And this is an article by Paul Combin, which includes a discussion about the Battle of Hastings. There's another article, Blood and Oil, a 1985 Persian Gulf tanker war by Paul Rohrbaugh. And there's an article on modeling leadership in pre-modern games by Jason Juno. And finally, the last article, Remember Majuba, the First Anglo-Boer War, 1880 to 1881 by Philip Jelly, and it includes a very interesting map of the Great Trek. Going back to the components of the game, Stalingrad, Verdun on the Volga, there's two paper maps. We'll take a closer look at these further ahead. Two counter sheets, and there's a series of player aids like setup cards, reinforcement cards, and others, including one deck of cards. Here we see one of the sides of the map that is mostly in green colors, and this is similar to the map that the original game brought, a mounted map board. This particular edition brings another map with more winter-like colors, more white or light colors, and that's the map we're going to use in order to go into the detail of the map and show you the terrain features. And here we have the other side of the map. You can see it's more a winter color palette. Now let's take a closer look at the areas. You see the areas that are close to the Volga, adjacent to the Volga. These are the Volga bank areas, and they're worth victory points in the game, like you see here, for example, the 9th January Square, worth 2 victory points with a terrain effects modifier of 3. This is area 25. There's 67 areas on the map. You see here more of the urban areas, train station 1, Volga station, the docks, also a victory point area, the food combine, and the train station. Now, overlooking these areas, you see that there's going to be the critical Mamayev-Kurgan area. It is a wooded area, as signified by the green triangle. You see more of these wooded areas, and the areas have a number, an identifier, and if the number is white, it means that the area starts under Soviet control. The Germans start in the areas that have the number identifier in black, like the one that we see here, which is the Raskulayevka station. So the Germans are going to have some forces on the map. They have the burden of attacking. Looking at the what would be the northern part of the map, more Volga Bank areas, the Derzinsky tractor factory. And you see there's some red arrows connected to these areas that border with the Volga River. That means these are areas that Soviet units that arrive at the east bank of the Volga can use to cross the Volga. And one of the interesting aspects, of course, of this battle is the crossing of the Volga, which is not a foregone conclusion. It's a lot of danger involved in crossing the Volga during daytime, and the game reflects that. The game also includes some player aids on the map. We have the turn record track on this corner of the map. On the Soviet side, we have the area to place Soviet support markers. These are mostly artillery markers that provide benefits in combat to the Soviet units. On the other side is the area for German support markers. And for the advantage marker, like in many area impulse games, you can use the advantage marker to give you a reroll option and other advantages, but then it passes to the other player. And on the opposite corner, we have here the General's record track, where we keep track of victory points and impulses in the game. The game also includes the rulebook inside the magazine in full color. As you can see here, it has a setup map, as well as plenty of examples of play. It has various scenarios. This is a new scenario, Hubertus scenario by Kevin Duke, and it uses only the northern map, and you use it on the white side because it occurs in winter. So this is one of those additional bonus materials that the original game did not have. And then you have a learning scenario also by Kevin Duke, which uses the southern half of the map. You have the starting positions for the scenarios, more examples of play. So it's well illustrated. And there's a mid-game scenario. This is one that I believe came with the original game, which starts in October. And you have strategy hints and a glossary also. Here we see one of the counter sheets. It has German and Russian units. Let's take a closer look here at the units. You can see that they're color-coded. Independent units have a white background. Units that belong to a division, like you see there, 3 regiments of the 94th German Infantry Division in orange. And you have elements of the 79th Division, like in a dark brown color. In dark green, you have elements of the 71st Division. And then you have also Panzer regiments and Panzer Grenadier regiments, shown by the silhouette of a tank or a half-track. And of course, you have this unit here, the Pioneer units, which are essential in order to create rubble and other game functions. See here the bottom of this counter sheet, we see the air support markers showing a Stuka. And we have something that didn't come with the original game, that AVDV marker. That's attack value, defense value marker, and that is used with the attack value and defense value display. That really helps to calculate both attack and defense value, because you have to compare the difference between the two to determine who won the battle and how many losses were suffered. So that's something that the original game did not bring. Here we see Soviet units, also color-coded, like the 10th NKVD Division in yellow. You have other Russian formations. Independents are in white. Here we see the back side of the counter sheet. Shows the unit in spent status. That is, after it suffers a loss, you flip it to its back side. Here we see the second counter sheet, which is smaller. It has less counters. You have the Soviet control counters on one side. If there's no control counter in the area, it's controlled by the Germans. And we can see that they have no markings on the other side. Then we have rubble markers. And there's some optional rule markers that the original game didn't bring. That's siege marker. I don't remember that one in the original game. Have some more Soviet units, and we have the support markers for the German player, the artillery support for each of the Germans' divisions. So those are the two counter sheets that come with the game. The game also includes one player aid card. You see it has a sequence of play, a summary of movement costs, the dreaded Soviet Volga crossing table there. You can see that the unit with an 18 or more is eliminated. And then you have the modifiers to the die roll. The modifiers depend upon control of adjacent areas, and also Mamayev Kurgan provides unfavorable die roll modifiers for the Soviets. You have Soviet fortification creation, and that's the rubble markers that you saw there. The Soviets, of course, want to create these because they add to the defense value of or modifier of the terrain. And we have here a surrender die roll table, night impulse effect summary, out of supply effect summary, rubble effects, retreat priorities, attrition points. This is when you have to eliminate a unit, so you start flipping it to its backside. That takes care of one attrition point. And then when you eliminate it, it's more attrition points. And German rubble clearance. Then we have this attack and defense value track. This is something that originally didn't come with the game, and this was included for the first time in a Michael Rinella game with his Manila 1945 game. He did an area impulse game, solitaire game, which is the advance on Stalingrad by Revolution Games. And there was one of these done available at BGG. So the idea caught on. This is very helpful because you calculate attack value, place a marker in the corresponding box, calculate defense value, and then you compare both and you have the differential. So it takes a lot of the pain of trying to keep in your head all the math and lets you enjoy the game more. So this is a very nice addition to the game. We have also the German setup card. We have a Soviet setup card, and this came with the original game also. German reinforcement card, and a Soviet reinforcement card. And to round out the package, the game includes these reminder cards. These are cards that are originally made for the game and posted in Board Game Geek, and against the odds wanted to publish them, and they did so in this game. So these are reminder cards. So this saves you trips to the rulebook. Here you have the sequence of play in more detail with the reinforcement phase, maneuvers phase, refit phase, and end phase. And the good thing is this is a small card. You can place it anywhere where no action is occurring. Then you have the turn one special rules. You got the summary there. So you just apply these rules and then you can put away this card. And then you can use the advantage in this game for certain benefits, but then the advantage marker passes to the opponent. And here you have situations during the maneuvers and refit phases where you can use the advantage marker. So this saves you a trip to a player aid or to the rulebook. And then you have what you can do during a non-assault impulse. If you choose to conduct a non-assault impulse, these are the actions you can do: regroup, redeploy, troop transfer, consolidation, or you can pass. So you have the summary there. But of course, if you decide to assault and you're the Soviet player, these are the things you can do. This is a game that both players have different capabilities, and the options are not the same. So it's it's good to have them separated here. And you see here that the Soviets can attempt to build fortifications. The Germans can't. So that's something that is different. But you have movement, you have the combat resolution summary, overrun movement, and overrun combat. And of course, if you're handling the Germans and you want to conduct an assault impulse, this is what your impulse looks like. You attempt to clear rubble after movement. You got combat resolution, overrun movement, attempt to clear rubble again, and overrun combat. So you have 2 attempts to clear rubble in the turn if you are the Germans. So that's what's included in this game. Stalingrad Verdun on the Volga. This is the annual for 2022 by Against the Odds. And this is a game that I've had a chance to play repeatedly. I have enjoyed it very much. It is very similar to Avalon Hill's Turning Point Stalingrad, but that other game had a very clunky record-keeping feature where units that conducted actions, you had to place a geometric color marker on the unit, and then the unit would have to wait several impulses before going again. And then really it was pretty clunky, and then the map looked like a Christmas tree with, you had green, yellow, blue, red markers all over the place. This system is very clean. I'm going to leave a link in the description below to the video that I made about this game, the gameplay video. So if you want to check it out to see how the game plays, you can check this video. So this is Stalingrad Verdun on the Volga Ziploc edition of Against the Odds Annual 2022. And this is Stuka Joe signing off for now. Thanks for watching.